Traffic was moving fast that afternoon. Cars rushed past without slowing down. The sound of engines drowned everything else until I saw him. A yellow Labrador Retriever lying in the middle of the highway. He wasn't moving. Vehicles swerved around him, some narrowly missing his body. For a split second, I considered the danger of stopping. But then I saw his chest rise barely. He was still alive. And if no one stopped, he wouldn't be for long. I pulled over as safely as I could and ran toward him, heart pounding. The heat from the asphalt rose beneath my feet. The air smelled of burnt rubber and dust. He was a beautiful Labrador, or at least, he must have been before the accident. His golden coat was stained with dirt and blood. His eyes were half open, unfocused, but conscious enough to register fear. He tried to move when I approached, but he couldn't. That was when I saw it clearly. His hind leg was twisted unnaturally. There was swelling near his hip. He wasn't just injured. He was severely hurt. I knelt beside him and spoke softly. "It's okay. I am here." I don't know if he understood the words. But he stopped trying to move. He lay still, breathing shallowly, trusting me enough not to resist. Carefully, I checked for bleeding. There was blood, but not pouring out. His biggest danger wasn't just the visible injury, it was shock. With extreme caution, I lifted him into my car. He whimpered faintly, a small sound that felt heavier than any scream. I drove straight to the nearest veterinary clinic. At the clinic, the staff reacted immediately. They placed him on a stretcher and began emergency care. X-rays were taken. Blood was cleaned. IV fluids were started. I waited outside the examination room, replaying the image of him lying alone in the middle of the highway. How long had he been there? Had someone hit him and driven away? After what felt like hours, the veterinarian came out with a serious expression. "He has a fractured hip and a broken joint in his hind leg," the doctor explained. "We need to stabilize him immediately. There is also internal bleeding that must be controlled." The procedures began quickly. They stopped the bleeding, aligned the fractured hip, and fixed the damaged joint with proper stabilization techniques. It was not a simple injury. But he was strong. When the surgery and stabilization were complete, the doctor said something that stayed with me. He survived because someone brought him in quickly. That someone had simply chosen to stop. The first night was fragile. He lay quietly in the clinic, sedated but stable. Tubes and bandages surrounded his once powerful body. Labradors are known for their energy, their loyalty, their warmth. But this one lay still, fighting silently. The next morning, when I visited him, he opened his eyes fully for the first time. There was confusion in them. Pain. But also something else: recognition. He remembered me. From that moment, I knew I could not leave him behind. I signed the adoption papers. He was no longer a dog found on a highway. He was mine. Recovery was slow. I brought him home after the doctors confirmed he could rest outside the clinic. I prepared a clean, quiet space with soft bedding. Moving was difficult for him, so I stayed close. Every day, I fed him carefully. Nutritious food. Clean water. Medication on schedule. Gentle cleaning around his bandages. There were days when he seemed frustrated, as if his body had betrayed him. Labradors are not meant to lie still. They are meant to run, fetch, explore. But healing requires patience. I refused to let his spirit fade. To lift his mood, I did small things. I placed him gently inside a large cardboard box, padded with blankets, and playfully pulled him across the floor like a little wagon. At first, he looked confused. Then something beautiful happened. His tail wagged. It was small. Slow. But it was there. Later, I bought him soft clothes to keep him warm during recovery. I even placed a playful headband on him once. He looked slightly embarrassed or perhaps dignified, but he allowed it. I spoke to him constantly. Not as a patient, but as family. As his strength slowly returned, I helped him practice standing with support. His hip remained stiff. His movements were cautious. But day by day, progress showed. The first time he stood without collapsing, I felt an overwhelming sense of pride. Not pride in myself, but in him. He was fighting. Weeks passed. The bandages were reduced. The swelling decreased. Physical therapy exercises became part of our routine. Gentle walking inside the yard. Controlled movement to rebuild muscle strength. One afternoon, he surprised me. He brought me a toy. It was a simple rubber ball. He carried it awkwardly in his mouth, limping slightly but determined. I knelt down and laughed softly. "You still want to play?" Of course he did. That is the nature of Labradors. Their hearts do not break easily. Eventually, we began taking short walks in the park. At first, he moved slowly, carefully placing weight on his healed leg. People would look at him, noticing the slight stiffness in his walk. Some asked what happened. I would simply say, "He survived." Other Labradors approached him curious, energetic. He observed them calmly, sometimes joining gently, sometimes preferring to stay by my side. But he was no longer the dog lying helpless on hot asphalt. He was standing in green grass, breathing fresh air, alive. At home, he regained his personality fully. He loved his small routines, waiting patiently by the door, following me from room to room, resting near my chair in the evening. Sometimes I would look at him sleeping peacefully and remember the image of him in the middle of the highway. The difference between those two moments was not luck. It was a decision. A choice to stop. Many people passed him that day. Perhaps they were afraid. Perhaps they were in a hurry. Life moves quickly. We all have responsibilities. But sometimes, life asks something simple of us. Slow down. Look closer. Do not turn away. He may never run exactly the way he once could. His hip will likely always remind him of that accident. But when he looks at me now, there is no fear in his eyes. Only trust. Only calm. He follows me confidently, tail wagging, head held high. And when we walk in the park and sunlight touches his golden fur, it is hard to imagine he was once lying broken between speeding cars. Rescue is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is dangerous. Sometimes it is inconvenient. But it is always meaningful. That day on the highway, I did not plan to adopt a dog. I only planned to go home. Instead, I brought home a life. And in return, he brought something back to mine, a reminder that compassion is not measured by grand actions, but by small, decisive moments. He was lying alone on the road. Today, he walks beside me. And every time his tail moves with quiet happiness, I know stopping that day was the right choice.